I got a great show for you guys. Hopefully, some people pop in. If not, you guys will catch this on the replay, which is no problem for me. I'm here with my dog. You can't see he's on camera taking it off camera taking a nap. But yeah, just Merry Christmas. It's Christmas for anyone who's watching this around the holiday season. Yeah. Great time for me. I'm just sorry I'm getting settled into the show. A lot of stuff going on, just trying to get the year finished, get everything done with my content schedule, stuff like that. It's kind of crazy, but that's totally here. That's neither here nor there. We're here for another show. You can tell from the title. I'm gonna go through it quickly because my son's gonna come home from school soon. But the title is "These Japanese Women Are Walking Red Flags." And again, as always, I like pulling from articles from Japanese people. So this isn't just me talking crazy. This is from a Japanese source. After this after this live, I will put it in the comments somewhere. All I did was take read skim through the subtitles. I found some points that I want to pull out and talk about. If you want more detail, again, I didn't have time to go through it quickly, so I just used Deep L to help me translate it really quickly. I agree with the translation of a lot of the stuff, so that's what we're gonna rock with. But yeah, so basically, it's an article, as you can see, like characteristics of women that you should not marry. Really red flags of some women, especially Japanese women, of course. And I agree with not everything there. Some of it, if you go through the article, you'll see that it's really typical stuff. But there are a few culturally specific things that you're going to need to really focus on, and then I'm going to try to expand on for you guys. So let me just get into it so that we I can kind of get the rest of my day going. Again, I'm not going through all of them. I'll list the ones that I do talk about. So, 15 characteristics of women that you should not marry. Number one is a woman who's very restrictive with men. Now, you might think like, okay, women are really restrictive or whatever. But if she's control restrictive, I would say is controlling. If she's really controlling and really like, yo, where are you? Who are you with? What are you doing? That's a really big red flag, of course, in any relationship, but especially for Japanese women, because when you're dating, especially before marriage, generally women kind of give you a lot more leeway, and if they are like that, they kind of hide it until after marriage. So like if off the break, after you've been dating for a little while, she's kind of like, trying to know where you're at, who you with, getting jealous, or wanting you to take pictures or FaceTime and stuff, like that's not normal behavior for a Japanese woman at all. So if she's like that, like you might want to cut her loose while you still can, because you got to imagine after you get married, that behavior is going to intensify by multiples, and you won't be able to like basically take a piss without her, yelling at you, asking where you are. I'm not saying this type of behavior is across the board. I'm not saying like, all Japanese women are like that. I've come across, meaning like um, talked to guys who've been in relationships with women like that only a few times. Generally speaking, it's not like that. So if you do find that, like it is a really huge red flag, especially before you're married. I mean, like now, if you got caught cheating or something like that, and she wants to know like where you are, that's a bit more understandable. Just because you caught cheating, she can't trust you. That's just what it is. But besides that, like if it's just from just being a regular boyfriend, nah, dude, don't go for that. All right, number six, she's insensitive and inconsiderate. Women are a big red flag, especially in Japan. Yeah, now you might like again. This is something on the surface might not really seem like, yeah, of course it's obvious, but you have to. It's a huge red flag here for one reason. You have to understand that, like in Japan, people generally are much more considerate of others than in the West. I'm not saying like Western people are inconsiderate in general, but our everyday life is more, in the West is we do things for ourselves. We're more independent, so someone, if they want something, like something, dislike something, they will typically voice that displeasure. In Japan, it's not so much like that. You want to say, oh, my dog wants to say hi. Say hi, hey, 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 hey. Yeah, see, he's old, he's got cataracts. But but yeah, what was I saying? Like, okay, okay. All right, what was I talking about? Yeah, so for someone to really disregard that social norm and not really care so much about the way others feel in her everyday interactions is a huge red flag that she's not a normal person. Basically, she's a sociopath or something like that. Something like that. So that means get out of Dodge while you still can. Just look for, I would say, one, if you're in Japan, how she interacts around other Japanese people, or if you're in the West, how she deals with your foreign friends, for example. If she kind of is a complainer or a grumpy person, or doesn't really participate in a lot of group activities. She's just in the corner like moping, like being a sourpuss. That's probably going to let you know that you might not want to be around her for the long haul. Just to let you know. All right, next is women oh, this is a big one. This is oh yeah, women whose sole purpose is to get married. Like, I would put an asterisk women whose sole purpose is to get married to a foreign guy, even so much. Like, you can kind of, if you want to, you can kind of rope her into it by asking her about like why she wants to get married, or what did she want to get married when she was a kid? What did she want to think about? What was her dreams or goals as a kid? Like, if she says something like, "When I was a kid, I just wanted to be a housewife," like there are some women who do say that, but like if even some young girls who say that, but if she's kept that dream or goal from her childhood throughout her adult life, that's a problem. That's something you might want to avoid, right? Because it lets you know that she doesn't have any ambitions other than to, find a rest haven and take the easy life and sit on the sofa eating snacks all day. Like, you know, that you might not want to deal with that, right? Also, if she says that her ambitions were to marry a foreign guy as well from when she was younger. That's a huge red flag in my opinion. So just be aware of that as well. Again, please let me know please hit the like, subscribe button if you're watching this. By the way, no one's in here live, but I just want you guys to let me know. Leave a comment about the audio as well. Different time of day. I'm in the house alone, so I'm speaking a little bit louder. So I hope that levels off of the microphone levels. We'll see. We'll see what as I also replay this back. My dog is being annoying. All right, next one. So that was number 7. Number 8 is women who could habitually compare themselves to others. Yeah, this is another thing that you're gonna have to be kind of mindful of too. Like, if you're here, oh, look at that, maybe looking down on people. Why don't you have this? Why don't you have that? Especially if related to job, career, kids, status, like those kind of things. Because Japan is, of course, we all gonna keep up with the Joneses to a certain degree. But because unless you're coming to Japan already at like a high level of status, like on a nice expat package, you got a really good job, your company's paying for a lot of your stuff, and you can live in a dope place in central Tokyo, you know, that's fine. But then there are going to be levels of that as well, that you're probably not going to want to deal with. Again, depending on your personal preference. But for me personally, no. But if you're just a regular person coming in here trying to figure, a young dude trying to figure out your life and where you want to go, and you're dealing with this chick, and you know, she's cute, she's attractive, she's fun, but she's constantly comparing you to stuff, especially if she comes from a more established family background. That's just going to mean trouble for you down the road, because she's going to want you to live that Japanese salaryman life more than likely, or that Japanese baller kind of life more than likely, even if she doesn't realize it. And the social pressure and her internal complexes are going to just build up and build up over time, and it's just stuff that you're going to that could be like a recipe for disaster, especially if you're dealing with it after you're married, after you have kids, after you're fully invested. after you spent several years here and your career path is more set, it's more difficult for you to start over, go back to your home country. I've seen it happen. you know it's not pretty. Okay, it's just not. So just, again, avoid that, at all costs. My bad, my bad. My laptop battery should be okay. Next, women whose attitude changes drastically depending on the person. Yeah. You can kind of judge this with Japanese people. I think it also goes as well, depending on the types of circle. I mean, of course, people change depending on who they're with. But for me, it's a red flag if she starts looking down on people, especially other Japanese people. If she starts really like getting all like stank or around people who she thinks is a lower status than her, that might be a red flag. Again, depending on you, your circles as well. But for me, like, just because if you're just like an everyday kind of person and you seem she's like a down to earth chick, but then when you go to like the nicer parts of Tokyo, she gets all like, ooh. But then if you go hang out at like a regular bar and she walks past and she turns up her nose at people, that's not really normal behavior here in Japan. It's not really like elitist like that. It does happen, but not like turning up your nose at people because everyone's Japanese at the end of the day. So there is some level of like connectivity, if you will, between people. So to have that elitism, especially when you're dating, lets you know that there's trouble down the road for you. Women who demand perfection of themselves. Yeah. If she's a perfectionist, which means she'll at some point demand perfection of you, she might even already be doing it. You might not be picking up on the signs. She might be holding it in, so she got you trapped, got her claws into you, and then she'll just put the pressure on you as well as your kids as well. If you go back to your country, your home country, same thing as well. So that's just a whole can of worms. I wouldn't even open. Like a really super perfectionist Japanese women, for me, my personality type, you might be able to handle that crap, but I can't really handle it. you know, you know. So, yeah, if she like, your clothes, your job, your time, your energy, your manners, your everything. The longer you date, it will kind of show its head. That's the kind of thing in the beginning of the relationship. It probably won't show its face because, generally speaking, Japanese women are very accommodative in the beginning of the relationship, just to, they want a boyfriend, they want a serious relationship. This is a very relationship oriented society. So just be aware of that. Next up is claiming themselves to be savvy and not savvy, kind of dry and unsympathetic, right? Meaning, what's up, my dog? Oh, my bad, my dog's freaking out. Meaning yeah, they say that they, are kind of, they self-proclaim themselves as not being the most understanding person, or yeah, I can be a bit cold, or I can be a bit bitchy, or stuff like that. If she says that about herself, it means there's a whole lot more going on under the surface that you don't want to see, that you don't want to be a part of, right? So just be aware of that. Let it go, like the Disney song Frozen, you know. Trust me, because there's, even if she's cute, even if she's your type, there's always, it sounds kind of cheesy, but there's more fish in the sea, lots more fish in the sea, especially if you're, savvy enough with women to get the first one. Don't really think that she's the catch, if you will. I know it sounds kind of red pill to say that. I feel I'm cringing myself. I'm not trying to be all red pillish, red pillish, but it really is true, especially being like a foreign guy here with a decent level of stuff going for yourself, a good head on your shoulders. Maybe you're put together nicely. If you're able to get one, you're probably going to be able to get 10, 15 similar women. It sounds really cringe for me to say it, but it's true. If you're in the market and you're in the market able to pick up one girl like that, because you're much, you gotta think about it like this. I'm not saying this to give you like an inflated ego. I'm not saying it like I have an inflated ego or anything like that. But just think about it like you are more of a rarity here, in Japan than the girl that you're with. So it's a lot more difficult for her to find one of you than for you to find one of her. It's just a numbers game, is what I'm trying to say. And Um, so yeah, you might like her, you might care for her, but if she's showing these signs, just cut it off, because you're probably more than 100% going to be able to find a better version of someone like her if you keep doing what you're doing. If I hope that makes sense. But again, I'm not trying to say like all that red pills. I'm not trying to say all that stuff. I'm just saying here in Japan, you know, just strictly speaking on numbers, if she's showing these flags, drop her like a bad habit, man. Just drop her like a bad habit. All right. Women who habitually deny others. Yeah, if she's really, I mean, when it says denying others, meaning like denying, others thinking, decisions, personality, individualism, stuff like that. She's very closed-minded and has like a narrow view of how people should be. Those kind of people, as me, don't really jive with me well at all. Like, I'm not a fan of narrow-minded people. In the West, of course, we can kind of, again, we can have our own lane, and people have their own way of like living life and the type of people that they really focus on, and that's fine, right? Then you don't really have to cross paths with other types of people. But Japan's a very flat society, and people kind of mix and blend. Celebrities will mix and blend with regular people a lot, right? And higher like company presidents and regular workers will at some levels be around each other. So someone who's not understanding of different levels of society here and who looks down on them, similar to what I said before, should not be in your circle, because if you take them around someone who's outside their wheelhouse, they will be not a pleasant person. Okay, okay, okay. I got a couple more. There's another section about how to recognize women that you shouldn't marry, how to recognize them. So these are some things that you should be on the lookout for. Has a tendency to waste money. Yeah, I think that's a pretty much general thing across the board, right? If she's really wasteful of money, especially here in Japan, because Japan's not so much a materialistic society, having lots of credit card debt and stuff like that. The credit card system is really different here. Companies don't let you carry a balance. Like, your card will get cut if you carry a balance here. So a woman who's has like credit card debt or a lot of stuff like that, very materialistic, looks nice, but paid the price, I guess. No, right? Often breaks promises, agreements, plans, stuff like that. Really flaky. Yeah, I say yeah. Probably after you're in a relationship with her, I say yeah. You kind of don't really want to deal with that at all. Has a dirty and unorganized room. Yeah, especially single woman living by herself. If you go in, there's just crap everywhere. You go and stay over, and she doesn't care enough to clean up, you know what I'm saying? Or like if I don't know, if you take her home one night or whatever you're doing, if you go back to your place, it's just a mess. Yeah, 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 yeah. A mess or messy, just look. I mean, we all have our days, like, but if it looks like clearly she has no idea what she's doing, there's a really interesting video I'm trying to review. I'm trying to get to. Hopefully, I can get to it by the end of the year. About what, Smiley? What's her name? Smiley. I forgot her name. She did something crazy. Something else that's really crazy to one of her friends that I was kind of shocked that she did. Related to that, I'm not going to spoil it, but I'm going to give my thoughts on it sometime in the near future. So be on the lookout for that. Uh, Always speaks from a high positions, talking down on people, or not even talking down, like she is a know-it-all, or she is more of a higher status than people, like I know this or I know that, especially towards you. I think I'd say so. Towards other Japanese people is a minor red flag, but towards you is a super red flag, meaning that she doesn't so much respect you as much. She just wants you as arm candy. She might even be a gaijin hunter. That's a gaijin hunter, I think. Red flag for me. Um, keep secrets of her private life. That's just a general red flag, I think. Um, doesn't have many friends. Yeah, if she says I don't have any friends or I don't have any people to hang out with or something like that, unless she just moved here recently, like to your city recently. If she moved recently, it is kind of hard for Japanese people to move to a new city and make friends, especially because Japanese people are very territorial, if you will. Like, groups are built up from the past, so um that's something that might be understandable in a way. But if she's been living there for forever and she don't have nobody to talk to, and she's just with you, and she doesn't have a house party to go to or friends to hang out with or anything, uh, 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 Please remember, like, subscribe, by the way, before I forget. Thank you guys for rocking. Also, my other channel, Crazy Japan According to Akil, before I forget. That is gonna be have other stuff. I'm working on a cycle. Before I forget as well. I'm recording now at an odd time. It's Christmas morning, Wednesday morning. From January, my schedule is going to change a little bit, and I won't be able to record at this time. So all the live shows will be well, it's Tuesday night in East Coast time in America, so will be uh, Sundays Japan time, or over the weekend or Monday mornings Japan time. So somewhere between sometimes Saturday and sometimes Sunday evening East Coast time is where I'll be recording from January, just because my work schedule is going to change, and I won't have Wednesday mornings off anymore from next year. Just a quick note on that, and let me get you to the last one. This was funny, but I thought about it, I was like, yeah, that's true. She's interested in spiritual things, right? Now you might be like, why is this on here? But it is a huge red flag. It like any Japanese woman who's like really, really. I mean, the supernatural and super like hand reading tarot cards or fortune tellers. It's kind of like a hobby. My wife used to be into it, like which is also reasons like oh, but I would say who's like super into it, like it's more of like an entertainment thing. But if you're like super into it, if she's like really living her life by what her like fortune teller is telling her, or all these cosmic kind of signs, that's not a good look. Mainly because also, Japan is not really a religious society. So people generally live their life of what's in front of them, and the supernatural and stuff like that is not really, doesn't really play a huge role. It's more seen as entertainment here for a lot of people. So people can be into it for as far as entertainment goes, but living your life by it or stuff like that is a red flag. Honestly, my wife, she went through a phase of that, which is kind of like, why are you going? I mean, she wasn't going like every week, but she went like, I think like if she started a new job or something like that, she'd go, and I'd be like, okay, But it was like again, like a major event, like in her life, she would go to one of them. But then it was funny because if one went that didn't tell her what she wanted to hear, she'd be like, okay, well, that wasn't such a great experience. So it wasn't like she was, living her life based on it. It was more half entertainment, half tell me what I want to hear, is what in my personal case, But if like your girlfriend has her fortune teller that she really has to go to find out what she wants to do with her life, that's a pretty big red flag. And in the West, there are some women who are like that to some different degrees, but it's even more telling here just because of the lack of in for lack of a better word, importance religion plays in everyday life here. Of course, there are some religious people here. I'm not saying all Japanese people are atheists and stuff like that. There are people who are extremely religious. There are people who are Christian. There are people who are, Buddhist and other forms of religion as well. So I'm not trying to paint, Japan with a broad stroke, but you do have to understand that with the vast majority of people, religion doesn't play a factor in how they live their everyday lives. So the supernatural I would put in that religious category. And for someone to do that means they're a little bit wonky up there somewhere. And they might not be the type of person that you want to be dealing with on a regular basis. So all right, that's it. Please leave a like, subscribe. Thanks for rocking with me. I'll holler at you soon, and later.